guys. Happy Monday. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Glossier skin tint. You know, I've gotten so into the habit of just using the same thing every day, and also like every time I film a video. So whenever people ask me like, hey, what are you using on your face? I'm always like taken like by surprise, because I think that you guys already know everything that I'm using because it doesn't change all that much. But I'll try to remember to mention what I'm using as I'm putting it on my face. Just letting you know up front, the large majority of this video I'm going to be talking about the curly girl method, and now I'm going into week 2 on this method, and so a lot of this video, this specific morning chat, is going to be revolving around hair stuff. So if that's not what you're into, I'm sorry, but I should let you know now so you can click out of the video if you want. So before I get into the hair stuff, there's something cool that I want to let you know about, and I was wondering how early I can talk to you about this, but I just got an email today, so I think we're in the clear. But this Thursday, which is September 20th, for Beauty Heroes members, if you're not a member, this will apply to you the day after, which is the 21st. Beauty Heroes is doing this really cool thing where they're doing a limited edition discovery. You know how they do that once in a while with like a makeup box, or, I mean, it's not always makeup, but like they've done some stuff on Earth Day. They've done it for, I'm blanking right now, but yeah, there was the Gressa box, the Sappho box, the Vapor Organics. But this one's really cool because there's going to be 6 different discoveries, and they're all limited edition, and they were curated by 6 different brand ambassadors, and I'm not one of the 6. Yeah, so each brand ambassador chose their favorite brand and they curated their own box. So you guys can, obviously I'm going to share what those boxes are, and you can pick up the ones you like, and it's so cool. What I will tell you though is that of the 6 discoveries, I was only really interested in 4 of them. So Beauty Heroes sent me 4 of those discoveries. So those are the ones that I'll be telling you about. But to be honest with you, I mean, it's 4 different sets of beauty products, and some are ones that I already love and was happy to receive more of, and some I haven't even gotten like around to like even unboxing. So we'll see how that goes, because I'm not trying to test out like a bunch of different products by Thursday. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys something to look forward to, and once these discoveries sell out, like they're gone for good. So just wanted to let you know as soon as I could. Okay, so let's talk about hair and this whole curly girl method thing that I briefly mentioned in last week's morning chat, and I kind of gave you guys a little bit of an update in my weekly newsletter that you guys got on Friday. So let's see, I'm now going into my 2nd week of the curly girl method. So if you are still like confused and have no idea what I'm talking about, the curly girl method is a method for caring for your hair, and this method was developed by Lorraine Massey. She has a book called The Curly Girl Handbook, and you can actually read it for free, the Kindle version. It's either if you have Kindle Unlimited or if you have Prime. I don't really know the difference between the two, but I was able to download it for free because we have Prime. So yeah, check out the Curly Girl Handbook on Amazon. And if you read that, it gives you a breakdown of what this method is. But simply put, it's a method of caring for your hair while avoiding certain things that, you know, aren't the best for the health of your hair, such as avoiding shampoos with SLS. SLS is the detergent in shampoos and hand soaps and things like that, and beauty products that help it like foam up, right? But they can be extremely drying. So yeah, on the curly girl method, you're avoiding SLS, you're avoiding silicones in conditioners, because silicones just kind of like sit on your hair and make it heavy and don't really have too many benefits. I mean, I think it gives you the look and feel of smooth hair, but I don't actually think it's good for your hair. Don't quote me on that. I'm only just starting to learn more about all of this, but this is loosely what I've gathered so far. What else? You're encouraged to avoid alcohol in your hair products. You're encouraged to avoid like heat styling products, whether it's like blow dryers and curling irons and straighteners, although you can use a hair dryer to diffuse your curls, and we'll talk about that much later. Oh yeah, you're encouraged to stop brushing and combing your hair unless you're doing it in the shower while your hair is wet, like while you're applying conditioner. So there are a lot of guidelines or rules, if you will, with this method. And if you go into Instagram or even YouTube, like there's a whole community around girls that share, you know, their experience and tips and tricks and all of that. And you can tell that, you know, everyone sort of bends the rules depending on what their hair needs. And so, I mean, that's just, these are just starting guidelines that are shared in the book. And if you read the book, by the way, I didn't read the whole thing. I pretty much skimmed through a lot of it because there was a lot of stuff in there that wasn't really applicable to my hair and my situation. Like one of the things that she repeatedly says is like, go to your bathroom and throw out all your shampoo and stuff. And you don't need to do that. And it's because even though you're not supposed to be using SLS, I will say though, based on what I've learned about my hair so far, I actually do need a clarifying shampoo that has SLS that I need to use at least. Right now I'm just trialing and erroring, so I think maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks. So, oh, I'm using RMS Beauty Uncover Up as my concealer. So that's what I'm dabbing onto my face right now. So you guys might be wondering who this curly girl method is for. And obviously I don't have curly hair, but basically it's for those of you that have different types of wavy or curly hair. And if you read her book, or actually if you just even go into Google and type up hair type or curl type or something like that, you'll get a breakdown of different waves. So basically if you're a type 1, that means you have really straight hair. And then 2, there's like 2A, 2B, 2C. 2A is probably close to my hair. Like I have some that are a bit more wavy, and then like you'll see like there are some strands that are pretty straight. And then 2B is more like the S waves, like the Victoria's Secret beach wave kind of thing, and then so on and so forth, all the way up to I think it's level like type 3 or 4 where you have like the kinky coily hair. So yeah, definitely Google that and you can get like a picture of what I'm referring to here. So this method is for those of you with different types of wavy or curly hair. I would imagine that unless you have like stick straight, like silky straight hair, like unless you have that hair type, I imagine this method could work for you even if you just deal with a little bit of frizz or unruliness. I have a couple friends that were really intrigued by this method, but based on what they're telling me, they have like really straight hair that won't do anything else. And I was just telling them about how, you know, so many people would like pay money and do all these treatments and get magic perm and Brazilian keratin treatments to have that hair, and how for them it's like, oh, but I really want wavy hair. And we just kind of laughed about how the grass really is greener on the other side. So if there's a part of you that's intrigued by this, and this is what kind of got me to, I was thinking about like why I would even consider doing this method. One thing for me is that I wanted an easier way to manage my hair. And you guys know I live in Hawaii, it gets humid here, I live by the water, and I'm not like, most of my life I have not been someone to spend a lot of time on my hair. Like most of the time it looks like a mess, but I just want it to be clean and washed, and that's pretty much it. But you know, that doesn't mean that I have always loved my hair, but I was wanting a way for my hair for me to let it be and do what it wants to do without looking unruly. I also wanted to not hate the poofiness of it so much, or when it gets frizzy. And I was also curious about what it could do if I were to help like encourage or help define some of the waves that you guys see here. Like my hair right now, other than washing it and putting a bit of product on, like I didn't use a curling wand or any kind of heat styling. So apparently this is what my hair wants to do if I just let it do this. I wouldn't have known if I didn't try this curly girl method thing. This curly girl method though, it's been teaching me a lot, and to me it has been more than just about hair care. For one, as I was going deeper into my research, I am seeing like what a supportive community exists around this curly girl method, and like all the women that have, you know, done this for years, and some girls starting like around the same time I did, or Jess from Stark Skincare, who I think is like 3 months in. And it's really cool to kind of see where everyone is in their own stage of their journey, and to see like the progress. And what's been interesting is that this method isn't something that you start and then you see overnight results, while some of you might, but a lot of the girls, they have been really encouraging and sharing that, hey, like you might not see results for 6 months, but here's my before and after. And there's a lot of like offering of information to encourage everyone in the community. So I've been seeing a lot of that, and I'm not gonna lie, it is a lot of work, and I feel like it's very time consuming, at least for me right now, because I'm trying to figure things out. And Jess tells me that it does, I will spend less time in the bathroom as time goes on. But there are times where I'm like, is this gonna be worth it? What if I do this for, you know, 6 months and I don't see anything, right? But I think that's the wrong mindset that I'm having. This whole thing is like a learning process. And one of the quotes I think I saw on someone's Instagram was something like, every wash day, or every day you wash your hair, is like a new learning experience. Like you learn something about your hair, whether it's something that has worked or hasn't. So that's the attitude that I'm trying to approach this with. The other thing that I really love about this method, or what it's teaching me, is about embracing and cultivating what you have. So what I mean by that is, I think a lot of us, you know, we tend to fight what we were born with or what we have to kind of fit into like the beauty standards of our culture or whatever. And for a long time, I feel like, especially being like Asian American, it's like the long silky straight hair is what was beautiful. And that's why we would spend hundreds of dollars getting the Japanese magic term to get your hair like stick straight like wet noodles. And that was like the ideal look. Yeah, and I'm just speaking for me and my experience, but I'm sure like many of you guys can relate in terms of like what the ideal beauty standard is for the type of hair you have. So I really like that the curly girl method encourages you to like, hey, if your hair is slightly wavy or it's frizzy, like what can we do to kind of support the natural texture of your hair, and to make it like, it's kind of like wearing makeup, right? And not using it to hide your features, but to kind of enhance what you already have. Like that's why the whole no makeup look is still huge. I was gonna say was, but it's still pretty huge. And yeah, it's not so much about wearing a mask, and that's why I love the ethos behind the curly girl method. I also really like that it's more about learning the techniques and the products and tools to support you in your experience. And that was one of the first tips that Jess gave me was, I think a lot of people can relate when they first start the curly girl method is, oh my gosh, like there are so many girls recommending so many different types of products, and in the beginning it's very overwhelming, and so you want to buy everything and try everything. But you know, just like with skincare, if you try too much at once, or you buy too many things, or you buy something just because someone you like recommended it, but you have a totally different skin type, like not only are you like wasting money, you're risking, you know, breakouts or skin irritations and all of that. So I'm trying to take that mentality into the curly girl method journey as well. There are so many products that I want to buy, and I actually have some with me that I bought based on recommendations I saw on Instagram and YouTube, but I don't think they're working for me, and I'll share a little bit more about that later. So I was telling Jess it's so overwhelming and there are so many different products, but she said like, don't worry about the products, it's more about the technique. And I feel like this process has been teaching me to be patient, that there's going to be a lot of trial and error, right? It's not a one size fits all, unfortunately. And even if I were to recommend products to you guys, it might not work for your hair, because there's so much to learn in this method. And I only recently got into, so I kind of started out with, okay, what kind of waves do I have? And you know, what kind of product should I look for? And now I've delved a little bit deeper into what's the porosity of my hair. So I remember when I first heard that term, I was like, what does that mean? And how can I even find out? And I remember one of the girls on Instagram saying that you can like send a hair sample somewhere and you pay a certain amount of money and they'll give you like a diagnosis on your hair, and I really wasn't interested in spending 50 bucks to do that. But thankfully I found through some Googling, and maybe even in the Curly Girl handbook, I don't remember. But yeah, if you just look up hair porosity, you can, there's a test you can do. It's called the float test. And on clean, okay, so basically what I did was I ran my hands through my hair and I picked out a few strands of hair that happened to fall out. I didn't like forcefully pull them out or anything. And you want to make sure you're doing this on clean hair. So hair that's free of products. And so what you do is you drop your hair, I think I use like 3 strands, into a bowl of water. And if it stays on top after like 3 to 4 minutes or something, that means you have low porosity hair if it floats. And then if it just sinks a little bit, that means you have normal porosity. It's either it sinks a little bit or it sinks halfway. It's normal porosity. And then if your hair sinks all the way to the bottom of the bowl, that means you have high porosity. So what does low porosity hair mean? It means that the cuticles of my hair strands, they're closed, and so it's really hard for moisture to get into my hair. So essentially it's like moisture resistant. But I guess the good thing is if I were to moisturize it properly, like once the moisture gets in, it's hard for it to get out. And there are tips for how to get my hair to be more moisturized, like using what is it, one of those like shower caps, but like the heat activated ones to open up my cuticles, or I think like washing my hair in hotter water, I believe, is one of the things I can do. I also learned that those of us with low porosity hair, there's a tendency for products, like when we apply, you know, leave-in conditioners or styling products, instead of it like going into like the cuticles opening up and it absorbing the product, the product tends to kind of sit on top of our hair, and it's much easier for people with low porosity hair to experience buildup of products, and we have to wash like our hair more frequently than those with high porosity hair. And I'm so happy I found this out, because I've tried to like train my hair to not be washed for a certain number of days, but I never got to the point where I felt like I could stretch it more than 3 days. Like even on the 3rd day, I would feel so gross. And one of the other things about low porosity hair is that we lack volume. And that is very true for me. Like I washed my hair last night and I slept on it. And I mean, I had to use clips to kind of lift my hair at the roots. But yeah, volume is something that is extremely hard for me to have. In the way that I want. Like it can be puffy this way, but like my roots, it'll most likely be flat. I also learned that low porosity hair, it takes longer for our hair to dry, and water tends to beat up like right outside our hair cuticles. So anyway, I just keep learning more and more about my hair, and like things are making sense for me now. Like, oh, why I can't use, you know, conditioner, why I thought that extremely hydrating and moisturizing conditioners were too much for my hair, and now I know why. Or rather, like I'm learning how to apply them correctly so that they actually, the nutrients can get in and like actually do something. Did I already tell you what I put on my cheeks? Probably not, just in case. This is RMS Beauty's Curious Lip to Cheek in the color Curious. I picked this up when I was in Washington. I talked about this in my gratitude newsletter and how I discovered this product and why I bought it and all of that. Unfortunately, I think it is discontinued now, so sorry. So I posted a picture on Instagram last night. This is right after washing and styling my hair, and I'll put a picture up. And I asked you guys if you had any questions, and if you did, to ask me so that I could talk about it in this video, and I promise I will get to it. And there are 2 questions that I wanted to answer specifically, because for the majority of you, it was just more like, oh, I want to hear more about the curly girl method, and tell me how you're getting your hair to look like this without heat styling. I hope I can cover all of that today. I'm gonna do my best. I'm using Shumera's Hard Formula eyebrow pencil in the shade Stone Gray. And this used to be, look how small it is now. This used to be a full-size pencil. Those of you in Canada, you're so lucky your Sephora carries this. Youre is not sold in stores anymore in the States. So unless you're in Asia or Canada, and I don't know where else in the world, but yeah. In Asia and Canada, you can get it in stores. I swear by this eyebrow pencil. I don't want to use anything else. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna do is curl my lashes. And then, man, I have a lip product that I wanted to use, but I think, yeah, it's in my bag. So I'm gonna be using this again. This is the Carry Gron Lip Whip in Genie. I think I used this in last week's video too, but yeah. It's like a balm with like a tiny bit of a tint. So before I answer those 2 questions from Instagram, I'm gonna tell you very briefly what I tried the first week of the Curly Girl method and what I tried yesterday, like going into week 2. Okay, so last week I cleansed with my shampoo. I think I cleansed with this. I have the Evolve shampoo. This is the Ultra Shine Moisture Shampoo. It was highly recommended by MIII. And so when Pharmaca offered like a 20 or 25% off, I bought this and the conditioner. And I was rotating this with the True Botanicals shampoo and conditioner. Wow, I just brain farted. Yeah, so I was rotating the two. This set is definitely more hydrating, I feel, than the True Botanicals. So I use this, and then I use the Ultra Shine Moisture Conditioner afterwards. And there is a technique to applying conditioner while you're on the Curly Girl method. And basically, while your hair is wet, you take some conditioner into your hands, and then there's a lot of lingo too in the Curly Girl world, but it's called squish to condish. So basically you take the conditioner and the water, and then you kind of lift your hair up and then you squish it. So it should sound like if you were walking around in wet sneakers, like in a puddle, like the like that sound. You should hear that. And so that's how you condition it, and then that's when you can use your fingers to like rake through and get rid of any tangles. So that's what I did. And then once I got out of the shower, I put some of this on. This is the Inner Sense Sweet Spirit Conditioner. So this is a leave-in, and so it's in a spray form. So I would just spray, I don't know how many pumps, massage it in. Again, do the same thing. Squish, 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 right? The conditioner in. And then what I did was, this is one of the products that I picked up because it was so raved about in the Curly Girl community. And this is the Diva Curl Frizz-Free Volumizing Foam. And Diva Curl, the woman that wrote the book, The Curly Girl Handbook, Lorraine Massey, this is her brand. And so this foam is supposed to help with texture and volume. So I would take 2 pumps of this. The other method I learned was to smooth over your hair, so you like put the frizz down, right? So if you do have frizzy hair, you smooth it over, and then on the bottom you kind of do the squishing to condish thing. So yeah, I would do this. And then I did what's called plopping with a t-shirt. And again, if you just YouTube or Google like t-shirt plop, you'll see how they do it. But essentially it's, instead of using a towel with like the little, you know, like your regular bath towel with the tiny little loops, apparently if you try to dry your hair with that, it causes frizz. So this method highly recommends you using a t-shirt to plop. So yeah, I would lay my t-shirt down at the end of my bed, and then I would put my head over it and plop. This won't make sense when you Google it, but I'll put up a picture here. Like the first time Brandon saw me plopping with a t-shirt, he just looked at me so... He didn't laugh at me, but he was just like, what are you doing? Anyway, so what that does is I think it keeps your curls together and also gives time for them to dry and like form and do its thing, I think. I plop, and then I plopped for about 10 minutes, took the t-shirt off my head, and then I went in with this gel. And here's the other crazy part about this whole thing. This is one of the first things I learned about the curly girl method, and it kind of turned me off. It's that after you apply all these products, like your finishing product should be a gel. Like we're talking, do you guys remember this gel like from high school? Like, so yeah, you're supposed to use gel on your hair, and so it forms a gel cast, right? So you get the crunchy, like hard hair that you dread, but essentially that's what you want because it forms the gel cast, and then after your hair completely air dries, you're not supposed to mess with it while it's drying. Don't mess with it. It's gonna be really tempting to like scrunch up your hair more and stuff. But yeah, after you apply the gel, you leave it alone, and once it's completely dry, you do this thing called scrunch out the crunch. Another curly girl lingo thing. But basically what that is you scrunch your hair, like you scrunch the crunch out of your hair, right? Just like the name implies. And this is the crazy part. Once you scrunch out the gel cast, that's when you are left with the soft curls that you desired from the very beginning. And who would have thought that applying gel would give you results like that, right? And I think that's one of the first things that when people hear about the gel thing, they're like, ugh. But yeah, one of the like trusted sources for the curly girl method, her name is Allison, and her Instagram is real life curly girl. Like she was talking about it in one of her videos, and she's like, yeah, I know what it sounds like. Like nobody wants that crunchy look. Or, I mean, if you do, like that's cool too. But apparently that's one of the things that initially kind of turned people off about it in the beginning. But your hair doesn't have to be crunchy unless you decide you like that look. So that was week 1, and this product I briefly showed you earlier, I got like the small size. The bigger size, I think it's like 8 fluid ounces, and it's $26. This one is 2.5 fluid ounces, and it was $10 at Ulta. These two I got at Ulta. These two products are like highly coveted ones in the curly girl community, so I thought, okay, like I'm so happy I can get these on the islands because Ulta just opened up maybe like a couple months ago on Maui, and I've never been excited to go into an Ulta until last week when I was able to like find products on the ground and not, you know, like order them online, and if it didn't work out, then I would have to pay shipping to send it back and all of that, right? And Ulta has a pretty generous return policy. Even if your products are used, if you're unhappy with it, you can just bring it back and let them know it didn't work for you, and they'll take it back. And the guy that I spoke to there, the store associate, he said there's no time frame. And so even after a month, if these don't work for me, he's like, just bring it back. Like, we'd rather you be happy with the products you bought than for you to have stuff that didn't work for you. So yeah, that made me feel really good because this was 26 bucks. 10 bucks, and you know, if it didn't work, then I'm essentially throwing away $40, right? All right, so that's pretty much what I did last week, and I washed maybe every other day. I don't think I went more than 2 days without washing my hair. And by Saturday, yeah, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, my hair looked so bad. I'll put up a picture here, and I say it looked so bad because, well, at least because I know my hair. When I look at that picture, I would think, oh, I didn't wash my hair for like 2 days, but I washed my hair the night before, and the next day my hair looked that flat. And it was also around the same time where I learned about the porosity of my hair. So I was like, oh my gosh, I must be having product buildup, right? And so what I did yesterday when I cleansed was I used this. This is the Suave Daily Clarifying Shampoo. This huge bottle was $2, and I'm sure the ingredients are, yeah, there's definitely, yeah, there's SLS in here, but this is what's gonna get rid of the product buildup, right? And I'm not using this every day. Bought this for $2 at Walmart, and I clarified with this, and instead of using these two products, I use the Inner Sense conditioner, the hydrating cream. Gosh, I forget the name. But yeah, I used the Inner Sense conditioner, Squish to condition, and then once I got out of the shower, I just sprayed the leave-in conditioner, and I only used the gel. So I skipped the frizz fighting foam and I opted not to use this one today. I apologize if I'm overwhelming you because I know this is a lot of information, and if you are just watching me talk about the curly girl method for the first time, like, you are likely lost, or yeah, just information overload. So if that's the case and you're still interested in this method, definitely go check out the handbook. And I want to throw that out there because I'm feeling a bit frazzled too in terms of how can I share this information in the most digestible way. The reason I only used these two products last night is to see if I continue with this for the rest of the week, if my hair will feel like there's less buildup. So I'm just experimenting this week. I don't expect to figure it out, even though I really want to just have it figured out. And I'm also considering actually returning these to Ulta. And this was a great lesson for me because, like I mentioned, these are highly praised about products in the curly girl community. And I don't know, it could be that, well, the other thing that I read was that when you buy products in the beginning, what might not work for you in the beginning might work for you months down the road. So if you do buy a product, they do suggest you hold on to it because maybe one day, like, this will come in handy. So yeah, I'm on the fence. I don't know if I want to hold on to this or get my money back and save it for a really nice shampoo or something. And the Wee Dad, I'm on the fence about it too, but the reason I brought these over to show you is for the very reason that I mentioned earlier, in that just because something works for someone else does not mean that it'll work for you. I want to see if I can just continue to get better results with this, even just like a day after. So this is hair that I washed last night, did the whole process, and then I went to sleep. And when I woke up, it was a bit flatter, but I just took a little bit of water on my hands and I kind of scrunched my hair again, and my waves came back a little bit, right? So if I continue to use this throughout the week and it's giving me the result I want, I think this is going to go back to Ulta. So before this video gets too long, I want to make sure that I answer these two questions. The first one being, is your hair naturally wavy and then you do product? I have thick, coarse, slightly wavy hair. My stylist has to thin out the ends, and I haven't been able to find products for air drying that don't leave it crunchy. Thanks. Okay, so I wouldn't classify my hair as naturally wavy, and I didn't know that my hair could even look like this before I started this method. And I have pretty fine hair, so your stylist wants to thin it out. I don't know too much about this, but in my very limited research, I think I've read about how if you thin out your thick, coarse, slightly wavy hair, it can kind of add to the frizz. So based on what I'm reading from you, I actually think your hair would do really well on the curly girl method. And you haven't been able to find products for air drying. Yeah, so for air drying, you want to just make sure your hair is well conditioned with a leave-in conditioner such as this one. And then once that's in, yeah, you got to do the gel. Do the gel, let it air dry completely, and then scrunch out the gel cast. And that will get rid of any of the crunchiness that you're probably experiencing. So yeah, if you decide to try out the curly girl method, please keep me updated. Be very curious to see how your hair turns out. Second, more specific question that I got was, can you share which kind of products you use and how? I've got a similar hair texture, structure, but mine gets really frizzy if I don't blow dry. Yeah, I normally do too, but I haven't touched a blow dryer. Especially on this curly girl method. It's also getting too cold here to let air dry. The diffuser unfortunately leaves my hair looking a little crazy, looking like crazy. I hope your video sends help. Love your morning chats. Thank you. So with the diffuser, I've heard that I could get even like wavier waves with the diffuser. So I bought a diffuser attachment for my current blow dryer. I should be getting that today, so I'm excited to experiment with that. Maybe it's the way that you're diffusing, not necessarily the diffuser. So for you, I would suggest going onto YouTube and then looking into diffusing curly girl method. And there's so much advice out there on how to do it, the techniques. And because I haven't played around with it myself on my own hair, I can't give you any specific pointers. But yeah, try that out. The other thing I heard really helps is sleeping on a silk pillowcase. And I've heard this before too, not specifically on the curly girl method, but about how it's great for your hair and your skin. But it wasn't until I started this method that I decided I actually want to invest in the silk pillowcase, mainly because my hair is not curly, but it's slightly wavy. And so the friction that it causes on me sleeping on my cotton or linen pillowcase is that I end up with straight hair the next morning, and all the work that I put into defining my waves, it's gone. So I'm actually currently waiting on my silk pillowcase to arrive. I had ordered one from Amazon, so I will definitely share how that works out for me. So for you, I would recommend looking into how to diffuse so that you can eliminate the frizz, and maybe look into the silk pillowcase. And yeah, it is pretty torturous waiting for your hair to air dry, especially when it's cold. And I've forgotten that I don't have to worry about that anymore living in Hawaii, but if I was still living in New York or in Korea, I would not want to be just walking around with wet hair air drying it. Okay, well, I can't wait to share more with you guys as I figure things out for myself. But, you know, as always, I welcome questions or tips and advice. A few of you have either emailed me or left me comments or DM me and let me know that you started looking into this and you're starting the curly girl method yourself. So please keep me posted. I would love to see how things are going for you, the things that you're learning about yourself, and the products that you're using that you love. And just remember, and it's really hard for me as someone who loves beauty products, is that just start slowly. I know it's very tempting to want to buy everything, and I'm really more talking to myself here because I'm constantly looking up products and product reviews and all these things. But yeah, just remember that you can still work with less, and you can always buy more later as you need them. But just pay attention to your hair and see how it responds to the number or the quality of products that you're using. And yeah, just be patient. I hope this video was somewhat helpful and informative, and it helped you get your feet wet a little bit if you're interested in learning to really like your hair. That's something that I really want for myself as well. And so, oh, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, I know I say this and I've been saying it more these days, make sure you sign up, because I send out one every Fridays and I share 5 things that I really appreciated, enjoyed, or discovered that week. And it could be maybe something I learned about my hair, or new product discoveries, or sometimes it's not about products at all, and I just kind of let you in a little bit deeper into what's going on in my life. And so yeah, for those of you that are signed up, thank you. And if you aren't, the link is in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of the week. And I will see you later this week for the limited edition Beauty Heroes Discoveries video. Bye.